Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, should we start or just wait a couple of minutes so that our other colleagues can come?
Yeah. So I believe the recording is started, right? Oh yeah, it's started. Okay. So thanks, Ifas, for your contribution. In last week and this week as well. So in the next week, probably I'll take another session about writing, top conference paper.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
sure.
yeah,
No
the
worries.
following week will be taken by Tanjiv. So he'll explain
Mhm.
some of top papers. Like that will be kind of paper session.
Okay.
And yeah, so and again, like if anybody is interested, you can always sign up for the session. It's pretty easy. Just go to the portal, select session, and you can see the available date, and you can pick. And it's pretty fun, right? And also, just to let you know that we are starting, the top contributor, like the leaderboard in the portal, so you can see your
Mhm.
points there. So there are certain criteria, and if you take any kind of session that has the highest point, and also like if you published a paper on that particular month, so that counts the most point. I'll share the total point distribution so that everyone can understand like how they can be in the hall of fame. And we will be give like the prize for the top three, like and it will continue from this month. So yeah, I think we have now enough people joined. So if us you can start.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. Yeah, so hello everyone. Nice to see you all again for the second week in a row. Yeah, I am Mohammad Ifaz and I am a research intern at Edit Lab AI. And today this presentation will be mostly about like contribution, your GitHub contribution or GitLab if you use GitLab. But most of us, I think, here use GitHub, which is predominantly the repository used by all, if not majority. And then I'll be talking about like again your contribution, how you can sort of start contributing if you haven't already, or if you have, then how we can use like a AI assisted contribution. So yeah, to get started, for those of you who may not know what is Git, as shown here, and then GitHub. So Git is like, I mean, it is an application or software. And fun fact, Git is actually made by, as some of you may already know, Linus Torvald, if I have it correct spelling. Yeah, so the creator of Linux made uh, Git because he wanted to have a system wherein he can have a record or a history of his software contribution, which is making Linux. So he wanted to have that system, and so he made his own system, and it like caught everyone's attention when he like published GitHub. When he published Linux to the whole wide world, and then here, like 25 years later, we have Git as I think the default, predominantly like default version control. So if I want to use the term, the tough term, version controlling, which is basically like it like keeps a record of your like coding history, so that, for example, if you have any issues in your for example, if you're adding a new feature to your like repository, to your code base, and then you see that, okay, I want to go back to my system, how do I do that? So well, you can't really control like your way out of a problem if you have a huge code base, right? So what you do is you use Git, which is basically like depending on like you can like manually, like after every feature set, you like make a feature in your code base. What you do is you manually commit, which is basically you manually put it in a waiting list, and then you push. Where do you push it? That is where GitHub comes in. GitHub is basically using Git. So it's using Git as a sort of so think of GitHub as the Google like Photos, Google Drive of the coding world, if that makes any sense, right? So it's basically using Git under the hood, and is basically storing all your code base in a cloud, right? And the good thing with GitHub is it makes your life a lot easier when using Git, because Git by itself, it can't really do anything if you don't have a dedicated server that is not your PC. And that is very important, because you can't really have your eggs in one basket. So what you do is you multiply, or you put your different eggs in different baskets. So what that does is, even in the off chance or the likelihood that your PC may, for example, caught fire, or you had a SSD corruption or data corruption, you can easily back up and reinstall your code base, reinstall your software that you've worked months or probably years on via GitHub. So they store your code in the cloud practically, and you can use it very easily. So yeah, so I mean, this is a very short introduction, and now what we'll be doing is showing you how to get started using Git or GitHub. So I already have an account. So if you guys don't have an account yet, I mean, you probably should, because I think it's part of the prerequisite, if I'm not mistaken, to have a GitHub account that should be linked with your elite email or elite account. So make sure you do that. So when you first make an account, you'll be able to see your bare bones. This is the home page of your profile, GitHub profile, and then you'll be able to start working on your code base. So as you can see, I have a lot of I do a lot of stuff here and there. So these are my what do you say, pinned repositories, meaning these are the ones that I use the most. I mean, I have a lot of others. I mean, if you see here repositories, I will be able to see I have 85 repositories. So these are individual folders that you. So each folders are basically your dedicated workspace for that specific repository, for that specific code base. And you can have unlimited. So they don't really what do you say? They don't really limit you in terms of how many repositories you can have. And so in the beginning, you won't be able to of course, you won't be having anything. These are my own stuff. So the main question is, how do we get started, right? How do we get started to contribute on GitHub? Well, there isn't really a one size fits all solution, because the thing with contribution is it has to come from within. I can't really dictate you, okay, you have to first start with this repository and then you move to that. So first you have to have the fundamentals, right? So you have to have a good programming fundamentals written down. And then what you do is, once you have a very strong grasp, you can make your own. So first you start adding to your profile. So you start making a test repositories, and I'll show you how to do that. So you open the terminal. I'm just gonna increase the size so that everyone can see correctly. I think that is good enough. No. So you first, I mean, if you're using macOS or Linux, I think it's very easy to use the terminal. I mean, if you're using Windows, it's a bit difficult. So I mean, this session is mostly favorable towards the Unix-like operating system, so Linux and macOS. But again, it's not only for these two camps. I mean, you can use for Windows. You just have to manually go to your folder and then do that. And the Git commands I'm going to show you now, these are all pretty basic, and they work across OS. So you can use it on Windows in the command line, or you can use it on, of course, Linux and macOS. They're twin brothers, so they won't really have any problems from that perspective. So yeah, you make a folder in a dedicated hard drive or SSD. I mean, I prefer SSD because it's a very powerful and fast system compared to hard drives, which are very old. So yeah, so make sure you have a folder, dedicated folder in your given new volume if you're using Windows, or a dedicated section in Linux or macOS. So once you have this folder codes, you can just make a folder by doing make dir and then just doing p, so that it does it. So the p really stands for, if it doesn't have a folder, it'll make a folder, and then you can do test codes. So I already have the folder, so I don't really need one. And then once you make a dedicated folder, that'll have all your local like repositories or your local feature repositories, then you can go on in making basically your repository. So so once I made this folder in whatever OS you prefer, then I'm gonna go to GitHub, and then I am going to make a new one. You see the right option here, like there's a create new option, and then you make a new repository. I'm just going to make one for the sake of this demo for this session. I'm just going to name it Hello World, just for the fun of it. And then these things, they don't, I mean, of course, if you want to make it private, meaning you don't want others to see your code, you can do that. But I mean, mostly it's public so that, I mean, the whole point of GitHub is to share your code to your potential employer, or your potential like client or whatever, to prove to them that you know how to code, how to use GitHub, how to use Git, and all these things, right? And these things are really not important. Yeah. And then you can just create one repository, and then it'll automatically, like GitHub, what GitHub does, it'll automatically create the repository for you. So you see, it's already like here, the hello world repository, and the word repository means like folder. So these are like interchangeable. So for those of you who don't know, repository means just a folder, just a fancy of saying folder in the software engineering in the CS world. Yeah. So once you like open a new repository, you will see like this option here, like this URL. And then, I mean, I already have GitHub, as in, the way this will work, you have to have like GitHub or Git, not GitHub, but Git installed. So once you have Git installed, you can do like Git clone, and then you can clone your, so the word clone is meaning like, it's very like self-evident. You clone your like a folder in this code's like overall like the umbrella folder, and then it'll go ahead and clone it for you, so that you can start working on it right away. Very easy. And you will see here that this is a very like empty folder, and this just has a .git, like what do you say, .git file. And these are like used for storing all your information regarding your Git history, your credentials, if you have those. Yeah, so this is assuming that you have like Git installed. What if you don't have Git installed? Well, if you don't have Git installed, then you install it. Like, it's very easy. You install it. So this is like the official like site for downloading the foundation that GitHub uses. So make sure you go through the options here, and then you can just install. It's very easy. Just follow the steps, and then so after you have this installed, then you can like basically go here, and then also like after installing, you need to like make sure that you log in like your GitHub in your current folder or in your current operating system. So make sure you do that. And how do you like log in? Well, you can just, again, you Google like GitHub how to log in from the CLI, if you're using the CLI in Linux, for example. And then you can just follow the official steps. I mean, Stack Overflow is there, or you can use the GitHub CLI. CLI stands for like a command line interface. So basically, the whole thing of CLI is they don't really have like a graphical user interface. All are like using the terminal and all these things. It's taking a while to like, I don't know why it's taking so long. So yeah, so you go to this link, and then you'll follow the steps, and then you'll be able to log in with your GitHub account. So once you log in with your GitHub account, make sure you like restart your PC, so that your credentials are saved in the dedicated areas, and then you will be able to do this git clone, and then you can start working. So what if I want to like add a new file or a folder? As you can see, you can just follow the steps, and you'll be able to like log in successfully. Very easy. It's not difficult, not rocket science, right? I'm gonna go ahead and delete them. I don't need these tabs. So now my question is, what if I want to like add, meaning I want to contribute to my repository, to my code base, to my folder? Well, for example, if I want to make like a new file, let's say test.md, right? I'm gonna come here. This is like a code editor, like a VS Code, but for like in the terminal. And I just want to like write hello world. This is a test line to see if GitHub works in my new repo, and or like a setup or whatever. Just a simple like example line. and then you go ahead and save it. I mean, in my system, you save it. I mean, I think in VS Code you can auto save, but yeah, just save it. I'm using Vim, by the way, for those of you who likes using the keyboard a lot. I mean, I mean, in the last session, I think I like mentioned a lot of times that I like to use the keyboard, and it's not, trust me, it's not a like a weird thing to like say. I mean, it's very normal, and I'm not crazy, and you guys are not crazy to think I'm crazy. Just, I mean, in the beginning, it's gonna feel like it's very tough to not use the mouse and try to using the keyboard more and more. But once you get used to it, using the keyboard, especially if you're from a macOS or like a Unix-like system, Linux, you can't go back really. So yeah, in Vim is basically a software like a VS Code, but for the terminal and but for people who basically prefer to use the keyboard more and more. So everything I do, like even like for example, even like I'm sorry, I made the wrong file. Even like going from like line 1 to line 2. You see this? I'm not using the mouse, by the way. The mouse is here. The mouse isn't being used. So I just if I want to, for example, change like the word test. I want to delete the word test, for example, right? What do? I do D and W. You see, it's automatically deleted. And if I want to add something to the line, I just do insert. So you can see here the normal mode, and I want to like insert it, right? And you can really insert or write something in the normal mode. What you do is like you change your the mode. So you change your mode from normal to insert. You can see here now it's in insert mode, and then you type your like a test line or your word, whatever, and then you go back to normal mode. And it's a very powerful way of like navigating your code base, navigating your like code instead of using the mouse. Because if I want to, for example, now I just want to delete this folder. I have to like take my hand away from the keyboard and then go to the mouse and then click on this line and then do this and then click on backspace. But I don't want to do all those things to just delete a word, right? So what I do is I just use and this is just one example of Neovim. So NVim is like short for Neovim, and Neovim is like a new modern version of Vim. And I know I'm going on a tangent, but maybe we can do another session just on like Neovim, how to like start coding in the proper way. Coding should be done, not from the mouse but from the keyboard. Yeah, maybe I can like create another session if enough of you are interested. Yeah. So yeah, where was I? Yeah, sorry, I got caught up in a very long tangent. Anyways, just what is happening? Okay, just I think it's safe. Yeah, it is safe. Okay, let's gonna restart again. Okay, so hello world is there. So you can see the question mark icon here. What does it mean? The question mark in the GitHub terminology means that your file isn't being like committed. Commit is like basically storing that snapshot in your local system. So it's not going to the cloud GitHub as of yet. It'll go there once you commit, meaning once you stage that file, that edited file in your snapshot system, snapshot Git, and then what Git will do is it'll create a copy of it in your in the .git like folder that you saw, and then it'll basically prepare it for initial push. So what is push? So if you use the word git, I'm just going to increase the screen again. It's very small. Play it again. Yeah, sorry. If you use the word git status, you will see that the test.md file is untracked. So basically the files that are untracked or the files that are changed will have the question mark icon, meaning it's not given any like task as if like it's being like committed or pushed. So if you want to commit, what do? You see nothing added to commit. So it's already like hinting you what should be done next, right? And then say but untracked files present. So what should you do in this regard? What is git hinting you? It says to you do git add. So you do git add. And if you use git add, then you have to follow that by the file name. So what is the file name in my system? It's test.md. But you can also use git add dot. So what is the dot here? The dot is representing each and every file that is here. So for example, if you have like hundreds of files that are untracked, that are needing to be committed, I mean, you can't really type out all the files. These are like just not possible from a human. So what you do, you just want to bulk commit. That's the right word, bulk. Then you do git add dot, and then it'll basically like commit each and every file very easily. So after you commit, So just going to commit this file because this is just one file I have. It's committed. Now you see the like icon changed to a plus. Now what is plus? Meaning it is ready to be pushed. It is not committed. It is in the snapshot of Git in your folder, in your file, in your repository. Now it is ready in the committed in the staging part to be pushed to the cloud. In this case, GitHub. So if I just do git status again, it'll show that, okay, now you have a committed file, meaning this new file. So you have a file and now you now push it, back up your code to the cloud. So what do? You do git push and then it'll do again. But for some reason, what is the issue here? Okay, so I don't know why it's not working, but it should normally work. Okay, source ref space ref head main doesn't match any. This is very weird. Okay, so normally what happens is like once you do git push, it'll like push that file and then it'll take it to your GitHub and then you can see the file here. So if you have any issues like this, what I do, I mean, that's how I learn actually. So if you have any problems like this or errors, I just, take it, just copy this thing, this file here, and then I paste it in Google. And I usually use Stack Overflow. It's very good for like, someone of like 15 years ago had an answer. Like imagine the guy, like hundreds of people are like benefiting from a guy that wrote a question like this 15 years ago. Crazy. Yeah. So I mean now is in the age of AI, you can just use AI. But if you want to be traditional, you can use Stack Overflow. I mean, they give you an answer, and then normally the ones with the highest upvote is the answer, right? So now in this trigger, what do you do? So now, I mean, he's using Linux. You can see the command is very Linux or macOS like, so Unix-like. And then you do this one, git remote add origin, and then you do add. Yeah, so this is what I'll do, and then it'll work. Or if you don't want to use the Google, or you can just use your trusted AI assistant. I mean, there's no shame in that. I mean, it's fine. We live in the AI world now. You have to make sure that you use it correctly and you are at the head, right? So now I'll just make open code, and then I'll tell him to like, okay, what is the issue here? What do I do? So now you can see like I'm like troubleshooting my problem, and this is how you actually troubleshoot the problem. You either use internet, use Stack Overflow or Reddit or any forums like 20 years ago. They probably have an answer, or you can use open code, and then paste in the issue, like this issue, and then like just write it. I'm just gonna use a lower model because Ford is very powerful. I don't want to burn my token, right? Very token hungry. OpenAI, I'll just use the free model. Free model is I think very good for this like demo. I don't know why my laptop is very slow today. Yeah, so open code. Yeah, open code Zen free. Is a free model, and then make sure it's built. I am. This is how you actually like learn stuff. You don't tell the AI to do it for you. You like tell it to teach you, right? I am like learning Git and GitHub, and I got this error. What should I do, and what is the error? Teach me very shortly, or like simply, or whatever, and then it'll like help you. It's gonna give the answer, and then you can like learn it as a like a learning agent, learning assistant, and that's actually like learn in this AI age now. So yeah, so once the solution will be presented, you will like go through it, you learn it, and then you try not to make that mistake again. Yeah, so he gave you the answer. I'm just gonna move it here so that it's visible side by side. Make it bigger, a bit bigger. Maybe this is good. Yeah. So now, what did he say? So your local branch has no commits. So there's nothing to push. Git refuses because the branch doesn't exist locally. So the branch isn't existing locally. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so what do? You do git add, and then you commit m. Okay, so I didn't commit yet. So what I did is I just did git add. So that was a mistake from my part. I forgot to commit. So I added it. I added the file, but it's not ready for commit. So the difference between add and commit is you add the snapshot in your local file, but in order to be pushed, you need to commit it. And what is commit? Commit is basically taking that file that you added in your snapshot and then writing a message. It's attaching a message to that file or files, and then it's going to be prepared for your push, meaning it's going to be prepared for you to push to the GitHub cloud. So yeah, so once you add your like file or files, so you do git commit. If I can write, if I can spell, yeah. So you do git commit -m. So -m is the short form message, and then you write your message. Test. Okay, normally the convention is to give like a very short like a abbreviation. So feat is short for feature, and then you do add test.md file. Then it's going to commit that file to be prepared to be sent, what do you say, to your GitHub. Now it's going to be ready for push. So now you do, I mean, you did this one. Now you push. Normally you in the beginning, you have to do push -u origin main, which is basically like a branch. So the good thing with GitHub is you can like have multiple like variations of your code, and these are stored in different branches. So you can like quickly switch between each variation. And the good thing is one variation won't be affecting the other variation. So you can test things out and go wild with your feature set if you want to add new features to your like a repository to your code, and it won't be like affecting your current like a main branch. So for example, if you have a main branch, which is like the default branch in GitHub, you can make a branch called a feature, add feature XYZ, and then you add it. But this feature set that you added in this branch won't affect the main branch. So you can like test things out, introduce new things, or take away new things, and it won't affect the main branch. That's what it means when you say the origin main. So origin main is like the main branch of GitHub, and then if you want to commit it, if you want to commit like this test MD file to GitHub, what you do is just paste, and then it's gonna push this like code to the cloud. Make it a bit short so that it's very visible in the screen, and then you can see like the URL here, and then it's a new branch. So the main is the branch name, and then it is, if you come here, it'll be visible. I'm just gonna refresh. Very slow. I don't need this again. I don't need this one. Yeah, so after the loading is done, you will be able to see the why is it taking so long to refresh? I mean, what is happening? Normally it doesn't take this long. Maybe because I'm screen sharing, that is why my computer is slow. But once the loading is done, you will be able to like see the folder. And that's going to go to a new folder file. I'll just do GitHub. Still waiting. My God, nothing is working. What the? We're having technical issues for some reason. I mean, my internet was working very well up to this point. I don't know why it's so slow now. Oh, something is happening. The URL is changing. Okay, yeah. Did this come? It came, but without any CSS. Just the bare bones. You can refresh again, hopefully. And this usually means like if you don't have any CSS in your like file or site rather, you won't have like good internet. So now it's done. So you can see here, I added a new like file with the commit history, or rather the commit message, and then it was added like 3 minutes ago, and then you can exactly see who made the commit and the time associated. So it's very precise, and this is very important because, for example, if you have a very large code base, and like for example, if you have like a very large code base here, right, and there's like different people, and each one wants to work in this code base. So what do you do? Do you like wait for like person A to like code and then you do the coding? No, you guys can like code together. So how do you code together? And this is where exactly where the branching comes in. For example, if you're like adding a feature to the code base, remember I mentioned like branching so that it doesn't affect the main branch. What do is you make your own branch, you make your own branch, and then you start working on XYZ. And the person B right here, he's gonna make another branch, and then he's gonna work separately from you in the same code base. And the good thing is you guys won't have any conflicts because you guys are working in different branches, in different variations of the code base. So that will result in the fact that each and every one of these persons are like individual, are like independent of writing the code. They don't have to depend on the person in the previous previous stage to do the coding and then they'll come in. No, each and every one of them can contribute independently, and then after they're done contributing, this is where the next part of contribution comes in. So how do we like contribute? Okay, so I mentioned like these are like the test is like for your own like a private repository. So what happens when you want to contribute to a more, let's say, very like large code base that is used by many, hundreds of people, or that has a contributors. So the people who write the code, the programmers, are called contributors in the GitHub terminology, taxonomy. So how do you actually like get to work in that field? And I'm going to show you how you can work in that field. I'm just going to give you an example from my own case. So as you may know, there's a repository called Research Scope created by Kishore sir. Yeah, so this one. So I'm just going to show you what I did to like contribute to this, or how you can contribute. I mean, it doesn't have to be this one. It can be any folder. I'm just showing this to you because I think it's very relevant to Elite Lab. Yeah, so what happens is first you have to, like, you see the icon here. If you follow my cursor at the top left corner, you can see the icon. The icon is showing that it is forked. So what does fork mean? Fork means that you take someone's repository and then you put it in your profile. So what that'll do is it'll create a version of that code in your profile. So why would you do that? Because you can't really, for example, like what I did for my own code base, you can't really, like copy this. For example, if you click on this icon here, the code icon, the drop-down icon, you can't really copy this. I mean, you can copy, but you can't contribute. You can contribute to this repository because it is, the owner isn't you. The owner is Kishore sir, right? So what do you do in that regard? If you don't own the repository, first you fork it, meaning you take the code base and then you copy, you clone it, you're effectively cloning it in your own profile, in your own file site, GitHub site. So this is what I did in my case. This is what I did in my case. Where is it? Yeah. So you can see that the code base is written that is forked from Kishore Moral /research scope. That means I am able to like commit and push and do whatever I want in this copy of the main copy of the main code base. So what that will allow us to do is I can like make any changes I want. Like I can make any changes I want in this code base, and if I wanna like make this code available in the main Kishore Moral /research scope, which is the main site, then all I do is just I'll like click on this button, contribute, and then I can do that. So I have the code base right here. I'm going to show you. It's making it. I don't know why it's getting small every time. This one. No, not this one. Research. Yeah, so you see this one right here. You see this right here. So after the word Git, you see the feed-ui. So that means I am in a branch called feed-ui. And why I'm in a branch called feed-ui? Because I am wanting to contribute to this site, Research Scope. So you make your code, you open Neovim, and then you see the files right here. You do the coding, right? You make changes. For example, I wanna change the log to log B. like you make this change, right? And then you save it. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back, and then you see these are a lot of like I'm working on this file like this branch live, so you'll be seeing like a lot of stuff. So you see I made a change, and now these are modified. Modified meaning you edited that code to add your own features to this code base, right? Now you see the icon right here is called exclamation. So previously you saw like question mark. So question mark in the Git world is showing that the file hasn't been added to the code base, and exclamation is showing that the file is added, but it's been edited, it's been changed. So what do you do when it's been changed? Well, you do git add. So again, the same as previously. If it's an untracked file, you do git add. If it's modified file, you do git add. So if I do git add right here and then do dot, because I can't possibly be, I mean, I can write, but it's going to take a lot of time to hand, write these things. So I just do git add dot, and then it'll go ahead and like add these in the snapshot I mentioned previously. And then you can do git commit. So you can like chain these together, right? So you can do and. I mean, if you're using macOS or Linux, you can do and meaning and in the Linux terminology, and then you do the other command, git commit -m, and then you add your like and then you add your stuff. You add your like comments or commits or messages, and then if you press enter, it's gonna go ahead and commit. I won't be pressing enter because I am like working on this site live. Yeah, so you get the idea from that perspective. Okay, so after you commit, and then you can also like chain it with the command git push, because these all has to come after the other. So before commit, it has to be added. Before pushing, you have to commit it. So this has to be in order, otherwise they won't run. So I won't be needing this. I'm just gonna delete, but you get the idea, right? So once you push it, so now you want to, for example, you want to make a new PR. And what is PR? Meaning you want to do a pull request. So what does pull request mean? Pull request is basically the function that enables you to make the feature that you put in this code base that is not yours. You're just copying. You copied the folder from Kishore sir's profile to your profile, and then you edited. You changed some files in the new branch, because remember, you can't make sure that you don't edit in the main branch, because that doesn't how the convention works. You make a new branch so that you don't affect the main branch, and then you start working on anything you want, productive things you want in the feature branch. So feat is short for feature, as I said. So this is a very, very like common convention that people use in the Git world, in the programming world. So you do all your edits in the feature branch, and then you make it, you push it. After you've pushed it, if you come to GitHub, and then you'll be able to see like a contribute icon here. So if you click on contribute, you can see the icon here is like if I want to zoom in again. So the icon is very important because it shows that you are the right side. Your code is the right icon, and on the left, 2 dots here you see are Kishore sir's code. So you're wanting to merge your code into his main code, into his main branch, so that is visible to everyone to see. So just for testing, I mean, I have a lot of stuff to do, but still I can just make a PR and then I can just delete it. It doesn't really matter. So if I click on contribute, it's gonna open a pull request. You see pull request. So pull request is, as I said, is like requesting your code to be pulled and then be set into Kishore sir's repository, Kishore sir's folder, Kishore sir's file, or whatever. So if I click on open pull request, it's gonna automatically take all your code, right, all your stuff, and then it's gonna show that what you did actually. I mean, these are bots, but if you scroll down enough, you'll be able to see the changes that you've that you've made. But by mistake, I chose the main one. But I'm not talking about the main one. I'm gonna choose the feature branch, and the main one can't be. I don't think it can be merged if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so make sure you make sure that you click on feed, so the other branch, not the main branch, because it doesn't really work conventionally speaking. So you click on feed UI, and then you can contribute. You see the graphics changed. Then it's gonna open the prompt again for you to contribute. And then if my internet is very good, yeah. So you see the branch is 70 commits ahead. So that means compared to Kishore sir's like main research scope folder, a repository, my version of that code base is 78 commits ahead. And each commit can have like from one file to like, doesn't really matter, like 5, 10, it depends on you. And but it's 50 commits behind. So that means I am this much commits ahead of, meaning my own code is ahead compared to Kishore sir's research scope, but it is 50 commits behind, meaning he did some like editing, some like adding to his code base. That means he's like the things that he added are after I forked it. So once I forked it, that is like a snapshot of that specific time. So for example, if you forked on like say July 1st, and then Kishore starts working on July 5th, you won't be having the July 5th code, right? So that is why he's saying that it's 15 commits behind this Kishore sir's like a branch. And then it doesn't really matter as long as there is like a merge conflict, meaning as long as you guys both don't edit the same code, it won't really have any effect on like the pull request. So if I click on contribute, you see I can do that, and then it's gonna open the PR, the pull request like a graphic, the page website, and then I can give a very short title, a description, and then it's gonna show like what I did, and it's gonna show like the commits I made and like the editing that I did in this regard. Yeah. So what is happening? Okay, I don't want to add any file. Yeah. So this is how you like open a pull request, and once you've like made sure that that the title is correct and then the description is like good, you can go ahead and click on create pull request, and the site repository owner, so Kishore sir in this case, he will like go through the code, and if everything is like good, he's going to merge it. So what does merge mean? Merge means that your code is going to be added to the main branch of research scope. And if you come here, you can see this is the main branch, by the way, of research scope. And then you'll be able to see like the contributors. Like these are mostly like bots. So the GitHub and then Cloud Code AI is there. And then there's some other people that have contributed to sir's research scope site. And then you can like make your, you can like have your picture shown here. And there's another like repository that I've like made contribution on called this one, Skills All You Need. Yeah, this one. So this is another of Kishore sir's like GitHub repository that they can also like work on as a start, and then it'll basically like give you the experience to work on much bigger projects, which I'll be showing you in just a moment once this thing loads. Again, bro, what is happening? It's crazy. So the other oh, it's here. Yeah. So this guide is very good. I recommend you guys to go through the site. The Skills All You Need is basically like telling you like the current like ethos, the current like domain when it comes to like all the agents, all the AI agents, and how to use them properly using the right tools and the plugins and everything. So if you like, for example, want to work with ChatGPT, for example, or Codex is the coding part. It's going to tell you about all like like the functionalities, the new functionalities of like Codex, and then how you can get started. It's going to like go through everything. Yeah. So these are like some of the like contributions that I made. For example, I added, I believe, open code. Yeah, open code. I added this GitHub Copilot. I edited Anthropic Pi. These are like all my contributions, and you can like see them if you open the GitHub repository. You will be able to see that my history is there. So again, these are like for keeping a track. So GitHub, like they keep track of everything, like even the time you committed, when you committed, right? It's going to keep track your name, your email, or you can give like a throwaway email if you want. That'll work as well, and it's going to track everything, and it's going to show like in the contributor section, it's going to show my GitHub profile picture, which is of Gogeta, Super Saiyan Blue. And like it was also like made like a dedicated section wherein the people who worked on them are like shown here, so contributor. So if you want your name to be here, and if you have something that hasn't been added before, like something useful, so this is how you like actually like get into contribution. So you see something in the code base that you love, that you like. I mean, of course we all like, and I mean I personally like Skills All You Need, and when I first logged into saw it, I thought, okay, this is very good, but I want to add more. How can I make it better? So this should be a mindset going forward. Not like contributing for the sake of contributing. No, it has to be like meaningful, right? You can't really like generate like AI slop and then throw away like your GPT or Codex and then tell it to just write give a contribution and then hopefully the contributor or the maintainer merges it. No, you have to have the mindset of, okay, I use it personally. How can I make it better? How can I benefit? How can I give back? Because these are all free, right? I mean, he's not charging you any money. The site owner, the repository owner, the maintainer is not charging you any money. So how can I like make it better? And that's how the clock started winding in your brain. Okay, so I have a way to make it better because I love it. I want to make it more useful to other people. How do I do that? Okay, so yeah, you do this by doing XYZ, by adding in more features, by adding in more useful features for that matter, and then you will be able to start your contribution journey. And this is the same for like a much bigger like a contribution. So I mean, again, I wouldn't like, I would advise you to not start contributing to Codebase that you don't normally use. So make sure that you start your contribution in Codebases that you actually like personally use. For example, I use the ebook reader called Readest. I like to read books, like ranging from theology to software engineering to machine learning to Arabic and all these things. And then I thought, okay, so I like this like app very much. I have it on my phone. I have it on my iPhone. I use it on the web because the Linux version is very like slow. At least in my computer, maybe it's a bug. I can, again, you see a problem that I come up with. Okay, so the Linux version of Readest is very slow. So now, okay, so how can I make it fast? So this is how you actually think, you stumble upon the feature, then you think about, okay, I like this very much. How can I make it better in the Linux world? How can I make it better in the Android world, for example? This may be a criteria because, each one of us are different. So we may have different personalities, different likes, different features that we want to add. So you can do that. So I use it on the web because it's very faster in the web compared to the Linux app. And then you will be able to see like, there's a lot of books that I have. And by the way, I recommend a very good book by Sebastian. He's a very good author. So there's a book called this one, The Large Language Model. It's a very good model. So it's gonna like a very, very good book rather. It's gonna basically teach you how to like make a language model, like the LLMs, a very small one at that. And then it's gonna hand guide you to like basically make it from scratch using PyTorch as the main fundamentals for like is very good, and then it's very detailed. So make sure if you guys are into like LLMs and how do they work from the inside out, how to actually make one so that your CV is very good, or like even in GitHub, like you can use GitHub for storing your code so that you can have a contribution, so that your repository will be like full of PyTorch code, and then you can show it as a sort of like your projects that you did in your like a side project or like a hobby. That's going to be very, very beneficial for you going forward. You can also do that. Yeah, so this book is very good. So I recommend you like read this book. I'm gonna link it in the Discord if anyone of you interested. And the sequel of that book is called Build a Reasoning Model. So the first one is going to teach you how to build a basic bare bones GPT-2 maybe from scratch. But this one is going to go above and beyond. It's going to teach you how to build like the frontier models, at least how they work, like DeepSeek V4. How does it work? They have the reasoning model. Like DeepSeek was one of the first like companies to I think introduce reasoning. So yeah, it's going to teach you how to build that in your like a computer. And I started reading it. I mean, the book has been released for like what 3-4 days now. So I'm like in page 50. It's very good. It's very interesting, and it's gonna like it's very like intuitive. So it's not hard. These books are very easy. Anyone can get into it, right? And then just start reading like 5 pages a day. I think is very, very beneficial. So these books are like very good. Again, so I started reading books in this like my Readest account. So I have to make an account. So I thought, okay, the application is there, but I want to make it better because for example, I miss the ability to have AI in my like assistant. So not like AI, like replacing me. No. What I wanted was, okay, so I have been reading, for example, this book, right? Information engineering. So, okay, so no, I think it's going to work better if I have a fictional book. Sorry, just give me a second. So this one. For example, I want to read like philosophy in the Islamic world. Okay, now I'm in page 50. And in page 50, the author talks about many things. For example, he talks about like, I don't know, the Abbasid. Okay, I thought, okay, so I want to know, okay, the Abbasis were mentioned previously. For example, the Abbasis were mentioned previously in chapter 2. I mean, for example, chapter 5. So how do I like know about this this entity, right? How do I know about this entity, and how would I like to have an information of basically what do you say? Be brought up. For example, if I start reading now and then I take a break for 3 hours, sorry, not 3 hours, but like 3 weeks, and then I come again, I may not have the ability to remember some certain characters. If I'm reading like a fictional book, for example, if you're reading a book has a certain character, and then you wanted to know about the character in the next 50 pages, but you forgot. So what do you do then? That's why I like introduced. Okay, so how can we make AI be accessible as an agent, as an assistant? So it's not going to replace you. It's going to help you remember stuff. And the good thing was, it's going to help you remember stuff. And the knowledge cutoff for that AI will have to be till the page you've read. For example, if you're on page 50 and you talk about character XYZ, right? And then you say, okay, I'm not you, but the book talks about character XYZ, and then you're in page like 60, 70, you forgot about the character, and then the character suddenly pops up in page 70. Now you forgot about the character XYZ. So what do? You go back and start reading from there again? No, I mean that's not very efficient, is it? So what you do is like, if you like, this is what I thought. Like initially, my like a hypothesis is, okay, I'm in page 70. I have this character that I forgot about. I want an AI to be able to like read through all the pages till page 70, and then it's going to know about the character that happened in like that appeared in page 60, page 50 that I forgot about, and then it's going to tell me about that character. You see how I'm like I'm adding features on this like Readest application, and this is exactly what I did. So I thought about this idea, and then I talked with the maintainer first, because it's a very like big project. I think it has like 22,000 stars, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to show you now. And again, this is just example to like to contribute on bigger and very like vastly used by many other people. So yeah, so if you go to the main site of Readest, this is just an example. You see that it has 23,000 stars, 22,000 stars, and it's a very like big project. And you can see the contributors are like 93. There's a lot of contributors, right? And yeah, and these are all like people that have like added features of their own to this like site, right? And I'll show you the AI that I'm working on, the AI like stuff. And you see my name here, White Hades, just my username, GitHub username. So I'm actually in like the phase 3. So if I like show you the other phases, these are all like a part of the bigger phase of like adding more features to the AI. And this is just like one feature, so extra. So again, this is like the feature that I wanted to add. And the previous ones that I talked about, like that I mentioned, that I closed. I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna filter so that you can all see my like merges, my like PRs, my pull request. So these are all the like all you see are the contributions that I did. You see the phase 1 reading assistant. So this is like what I'm talking about. That okay. So I wanted a feature to be added, and then I started adding it. I mean, it's closed because it was superseded by the phase 2. That's why it's closed and not merged. And then you will be able to see that I like started working on this project till like since not till, but since like December of last year. And you can see like all the things that I did, and it actually got merged. You can see here closed, so meaning it's merged. Yeah. So yeah, so once you've like started getting into the beginning stages of like contribution, it's gonna be very easy. So once you get the hang of it, you make a PR, then you write your like contribution, then you're gonna show okay, so I added like the chat box. Yeah, you can just see here. So you can see the chat box that I added, and you can use like any model that you want, and it's gonna be very, very beneficial for the code base, assuming it's a very like it's a good feature to have. And even now, and the thing with like Readest specifically is the maintainer or the core maintainer hasn't what do you say hasn't fully integrated my AI. So it's there, but it's hidden. So you can't. So if you go to like Readest here, you can't really like see the AI because he hasn't allowed it to be like fully be there, because you can see there's no AI here, and even in the sidebar there's no AI here. Why? Because my like Like I've been working on this like since December of last year, and even now I'm still not done. That's how detailed I want to be. That's how perfect I want to be when it comes to like contribution. You can't just like contribute for the sake of contributing, as I've said time and again, like a broken clock again. But this is a very important thing to keep in mind. So you can see that I started working on this like PR since January of 30. So January 30th, so almost like 4 months ago, and it's still open. So you can see the dedication that I'm going through to make sure that this new feature is like very, very precise and is like very connected to the existing code base. So make sure that when you add a feature, it doesn't really like what is that word? It doesn't really have any conflict of interest, conflict of like code in this case, of the existing code base. So make sure they have a graceful merging. They have a graceful amalgamation of features that together your code and the maintainer's code works together. Very, very clean. Otherwise, he may not merge it. He may not like it. So what happens then? He may close the PR that he worked so hard on. And it wouldn't really matter because he owns the code base. You don't own it, right? So he's like the main maintainer. So he has every right to close it out or not merge it. So make sure that when you are in this like field, all the features are very, very like good in that they actually solve a problem and not contribute for the sake of contributing. Yeah. So
Ifaz.
yeah. Sorry, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt. So I'm gonna add a couple of points here. So
Sure.
for everyone actually. So first, if you wanna learn about like how you can train any kind of LLM, you should check out like Andres Kapati's tutorial, because like he actually built the whole LLM, like how you can build your chatbot, for example. So I'm gonna give the link. I believe like if you watched that particular
Yes, sir. I did watch it.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And for
exactly.
those of you
So
who don't know, Andre Karpathy. Yeah. Sorry, sir. Sorry to cut you off.
no,
Go
go ahead,
ahead.
go ahead, go ahead. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
So
just to
Andre
tell you like
Karpathy.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Andre
So
Karpathy is like
these
the founding father. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So he's kind of like my role model, like I have been following him for a long period of time. So obviously you guys can check out like his channel so that you'll learn more about like LLM reasoning and those things. And I wanna add one more thing. Today's world actually, we can actually build any kind of project using AI tool, right? So try to contribute in open source project, because these are the most important right now. Because if you wanna crack any kind of good job, so open source actually contribution is very important. So that's thanks to Ifas, like you mentioned about these things, like how people can actually contribute to open source, like the popular open source projects. So that is a good thing. Actually, you can build your profile, and obviously you'll see that when you try to contribute on those projects, you'll learn a lot of things, and that is actually very powerful portfolio for your
Yes.
resume as well. And lastly, I want to add one more thing. The LLM one, and yeah. So if you can contribute to the research scope, like
Mm-hmm.
try to put kind of AI chatbot.
Mm-hmm.
uh, I am actually
Yeah. So
planning to
that is
do that, but
on.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm very actually busy nowadays. So if you
Yeah.
can
I
actually
get it.
contribute to that, that would be a good option.
Sure.
Like they can
The
actually
funny
talk,
thing is. Yeah. Sorry, sir.
yeah, they can talk with like the paper.
Mhm.
So I wanna like add that feature like in research scope, so that actually it will be more easy for others
Yes.
to find the research and everything.
The funny thing is actually like was thinking about this exact same thing of how can I add like the chatbot in your research group, because
Mm.
I mean there's a lot of like like 10,000 or I mean I don't know how many files are there like papers, and I mean we can possibly go through each and every one, right? So what happens if we have like a dedicated bot? For example, there's a site called it's a very, very popular site. I'm going to show you. What
And right now,
people
research
may
scope
know
has
about
like
this.
over 200,000 papers, so we can actually build like
Yeah,
kind of a knowledge base based on that.
exactly.
I'll provide you a Cloud API, so that you can also use like Cloud API to to
Yeah, for
tune
like
everything.
testing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if you guys can see my screen, Alpha Archive is a very popular site, and they have like for example, if you they have like the most popular papers, and even the latest ones, like the latest one that I found is like 7 July. And the good thing is you can like search any paper that you want. For example, it's a very popular paper called "Attention is All You Need." I think Kishore sir like made a session on that. like explaining that paper. It's a very like this paper actually started the whole AI revolution, LLM revolution, right? So it's a very I highly recommend everyone to like go ahead and read this paper. And the chatbot that Kishore sir was talking about, they actually implemented this in their own like alpha archive, and then you can talk with it like, hello, you have to log in. Okay, so yeah, if you log in, then you will be able to like for free. You don't have to pay anything. Like learning nowadays is like easy. Like what, like for free you can like learn the most popular paper that has been like graced by in our earth like till I don't know what. Yeah, so just write and then it's gonna explain everything for you. So maybe I can implement this sort of like AI chatbot that's gonna have like context of all the entire papers, and then yeah, Kishore sir like mentioned, and yeah, I think it's a very, very good thing. And I mean, it's not me. I mean, he's not telling me per se. I mean, if any one of you is like interested in this like space, all of you are welcome. No one is like stopping anyone, right? So all of you are welcome to add any feature as long as they're like very good and they're actually useful, not like AI slop. So make sure you keep that in mind. Yeah. So another thing Kishore sir like mentioned, Andrew Karpathy. Yeah, he's like the founding father of OpenAI. He actually like co-founded OpenAI with Sam Altman and Elon Musk. And now, fun fact, he's in Anthropic. So he switched sides sadly. But I adore Andrew Karpathy very much. He's like my go-to goat of the LLM world. He's very eloquent. He like teaches you everything. Like there's like 3-4 hours videos on how to make GPT-2, how to make a tokenizer from scratch. And I think if you guys like watch these videos, I think you will be very gold. Yeah. So maybe, and also the other thing that I wanted to ask you is I am working on a new like feature for Research Scope. You can see like it's very buggy, so you can't really see the text here, but yeah, I can still a work in progress. So my my feature that I am working on right now for Research Scope is like the ability to have multiple themes for like this site, because I found the current like UI to be very like basic. Otherwise it's a very good site. So I want to have the site be up to a very modern site, with like modern features, like modern UI UX. So I like initially I have like 3 like designs for that I want to like contribute. I mean, again, still a work in progress, so there's like bugs here and there, but you can see that like compared to like the original one, it's a very, I think in my opinion is very good, like pleasing to the eyes, right? So the original one is like basic. So I wanted to make this site better because it is a very good site and I want everyone to enjoy it. So I thought, okay, I want everyone to enjoy. How can I make everyone enjoy it? I thought, okay, maybe the visuals needs a bit of overhaul, or maybe the UI UX, the user interface, user experience needs to be better, or corrected upon maybe. So that's why I am working on this like feature. If it loads, I don't know. Again, bro, my internet is very slow. Where's my site? My local site. Where is it? This one? Yeah, this one. So there are 3 themes now currently. I may add more if I think these are good. Yeah, so this is like another like a design. It's very good. It's very like jumpy. Again, like don't like ignore the bugs. Still a work in progress. So you can see like if you hover over the cards, they like pop up like a playful. So the theme of this one particularly is like a playful, like a school oriented theme. You see the pictures are there generated. And even here, so these are very very enjoyable like UI that I think will add to the beauty of this very good site. You can see like yeah, so they see the jumping motion and they add to the beauty, and then they make it like they encourage you to go through the site, explore, and then you read. And yeah, so this bug, so yeah, so this is just like one example that I wanted to show you guys. Okay, so for contribution, it doesn't really have to be like my like design. It doesn't really have to be design per se. You can just, for example, contribute for the backend if you guys are into that. Like for the backend, for the front end, doesn't really matter as long as these are meaningful changes and very good. And yeah, so I mentioned like he plans to add like AI into the mix, like a purposeful AI chatbot. So you can do that, and yeah, and make sure that again, like the beauty of open source is like you have all the time in the world. You have all the free like AI tools for your help, AI coding agent. You have all the resources. For example, when he mentioned AI chatbot, okay, I thought, okay, which chatbots are there currently that I can implement in this research scope? So just from the top of my head, I'm thinking of using like a Vercel AI SDK. The software development kit is very good. I think it's version 7 now. So this is like a very popular open source. So everything made by Vercel is open source for building AI layers, for building like AI tools inside the current application. So maybe I can implement this. Or I mean, there are various others like AI SDK tools, but Vercel I think is like at the top when it comes to like open source, when it comes to like compatibility with all existing all existing tools and toolkit. So again, you can see like these are like compatible with like Next.js or React or Svelte or Angular or Vue or Vercel Labs or whatever, right? So again, this is just what I thought. So once you like start getting into contribution, you'll be able to think, okay, so how can I add this feature and which tools are there? So that'll basically like force you to learn new things. Otherwise, if you just you're in tutorial hell, you watch a YouTube video like 2 hours and then you don't really learn anything. You learn by doing, right? That's what the popular like saying goes. You learn by doing. And when push comes to shove, you get your hands wet. You come across a problem. So this is how I like to think. You come across a problem you don't know the answer to, and then you search online. You use ChatGPT, you use Codex or whatever. You get the idea, you learn it, and then you implement it, right? And that's actually like sticks to your head. So whenever the problem comes again, you will be prepared because you've dealt with it in the past. Compared to you're watching a YouTube video, you're typing along, you're coding along. It doesn't really stick because you're like passively learning. You're not actively contributing. You're not actively like learning. So I think contributing in this way, like you have a problem, that's totally fine. I mean, you are bound to have a problem. That's like normal. But the main difference between you and the average person is how can you overcome the problem by doing, by keep on doing, and then you keep on you have tenacity, and then you solve the problem by using like the internet, by using Stack Overflow, by using AI tools at your disposal. Make sure that you learn it. You don't just copy paste, like the answer from Stack Overflow or the AI. No, you learn it, you see how it works, and then you implement that in your system, so that the next time it comes, the problem you are able to like solve from your own without any help, because you've already dealt with it in the past and it's fresh in your memory. And yeah, the more you do, the better you'll come at like knowing how these tools like they work. Like now AI SDK 7, like this is what I used, by the way, for like the Readest application that I was talking about. And yeah, so there's also like another like my research project that I submitted a paper on. It's called MeadReader. Yeah, so this whole idea of having an integrated assistant by your side that is like bound by your reading progress, that's actually came from like a paper that I wrote. It's not published yet. It's going to be published, I think, in September in Greece, and the ICCCI conference paper. And yeah, so this is how I came up with the idea. I mean, I wrote the paper, and then that's how you actually like implement. So I didn't just write the paper. I implemented like the software, right? So it's not only theoretical, it's actually practical. I don't know why. Maybe like GitHub doesn't allow you to see the folder. But yeah, so this is what I'm talking about, that make sure that the practicality of your like application is there, not the theoreticality, if that is a word. I hope it is. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so you have to make sure that you implement, you always have like you do stuff, like every day you code, every day you make a new code base, you make a new repository, and then you keep on doing stuff. Because if you see here, if you just see the amount of like folders that I have, I mean, it's a bit too much. You guys don't have to like have this many, but just to give you like an example of what I'm talking about. You see all these files, all these folders, not files, but folders. All these are there for my testing, for my tinkering. Some of them are there for my like agentic help. So these are all mixed. For example, I am like learning to go into like Android, the Kotlin Android app world. Some like building like this one here, me download and me Langua. So basically like an offline version of a language learning assistant. I'm doing that. So make sure that you have these things in your like repository that'll activate that fun, because you can't really be coding every day, or or like once in a while. If you don't have fun, you make sure that you have to have fun. You have to enjoy the things that you're doing. And I believe that if you have this enjoyment, it's gonna not be boring. For example, if you guys know PewDiePie, yeah, I forgot to mention PewDiePie. He has his own repository, like he has his own GitHub now. Like imagine PewDiePie, that YouTuber with I think like 150 million subscribers, the best YouTuber. He has his own GitHub. So if you can contribute to that, yeah, be my guest. It's now in 82,000 stars. So imagine like PewDiePie is making apps now. It's crazy. Like it's basically like an Odysseus. So this is basically like a fully local version of your assistant that can do everything basically. Like, or this is basically like these are the features that he has. Yeah, so if PewDiePie can get into like, you know, contribution, so I can too. It's basically like, at this point, I think no one can stop him. He's going crazy nowadays. So yeah, I think he bought like 10 GPUs. So imagine like buying 10 4090s for like 40,000 USD and then just using local LLMs. Now he's like the pioneer in this field of local agentic AI. So he made this like a workspace because he was tired of existing solutions. So this is how he thought, okay, so I have a gap in this like field. I have a gap of, okay, so all the existing like AI agents are lacking when it comes to locally using models, because he has like 10 GPUs. So of course he can run like any model he wants with like, I think 500 GB of VRAM. So he thought, okay, so how can I make it so that I can use my local agents, I can use my local LLMs properly without any like, you know, like lagging or token context, you know, like consumption being too high. So he made this application and now it's very popular. And I contributed it. I think I forgot whatever, because it was, I think, many months ago. But yeah, not months ago, but a few weeks ago. Yeah, so you can like take this into account that if he can do it, if he can like, you know, go into contribution, so can you. So I think that covers everything that I have. And yeah, one more thing regarding the ChatGPT Pro that I mentioned. Yeah, so I got the what do you say? So there's so let me start here. So for those of you who are waiting for this moment, Codex for open source is the official name, I believe, the title. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if you guys have like a good enough contribution like history in your GitHub repository, as Kishore sir said, there'll be a lot of opportunities in that you can like be very like you can have a very good CV. Employers will be able to say, okay, no, this guy did work. This guy has history to back it up, to back his like experience or back his like coding skills or any skills for that matter. And if you have that, then it's gonna create like opportunities like this one. So you can see here, it's gonna, if you have a good enough history, it's gonna give you like 6 months of GPT Pro. So GPT Pro is like the 200 USD per month, so the max tier. So like Claude Max, I think the equivalent of Claude Max of 200 USD per month, the same thing. So you're gonna get 6 months of it for free. You're gonna get like Codex inside, and then Codex security and all the like API credits that you need. And just fill it up. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, you know, I applied for this Codex for open source, I think 2 months ago, right? Yeah, 1.5 months ago. And I thought, okay, I'm not gonna get it because it's very, you know, very like what do you say, saturated is the right word. But I just applied, and I just for like for what do you say, for the history, you have to like give links. You have to give actually receipts. You have to give receipts in that. You have to go to your, what I did. So what I did was I like went to Readest, the contribution that I did, and then I like went here, pull request, meaning my pull request, and then I like filtered by my name, because there's a lot of like, you know, people that I worked on it, hundreds of people. And then you will be able to see like all the contribution that I made. It's not open. It should be, I don't even need this. Yeah, you can see all my open and closed contributions. So this is like the history, because you can't really, you know, like make all this via cheating. It's impossible. And even this is like merged. So it's impossible for you to like, you know, hack or, you know, quote unquote hack or cheat the system. So you contribute to a very popular like site. I don't think it doesn't even have to be popular, to be honest. It just have to be like you just have to have a lot of stars. So again, I mean, you guys, like a research scope is a very like, I think, a good opportunity for you, in that make sure that you guys have a lot of stars. Like you start this repository. I didn't start it. Okay, my bad. Okay, yeah. So start it like that, like I did, like I start, and then the more stars it has, the more likely you will get this like this project, this application to be like successful, right? And then make sure that you write, okay, why do you deserve this like 6 months of GPT Pro totaling 1,200 USD for free? You're gonna have to explain like, okay, like, you know, I was working on this feature, and you have to explain, okay, why is this important? Why is it like an AI slop, or is it like actually important, like actually solving a problem? Okay, you can do that. And then once you do that, you have to wait for, I think, a few weeks. I think I waited Yeah, so I got this, I think, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and I applied a month and a half ago. So give or take a month around. I mean, I mean, if I've seen in Twitter, in X, that people receive it like a few days later. Like they apply in like one day, and like 3 days later they receive it. Maybe it's for like a more popular like stars, but popular starred like repositories. But I mean, Readest is like 20,000, 22,000. I mean, if even if the repository is like a good amount of stars, it doesn't really guarantee you that you can get it for now or like a few days later. It can take like a month. But I think like if you keep on trying and then you keep on contributing and then eventually you apply for this program, you'll be able to like be successful, because OpenAI in this regard is very like better in my opinion compared to the other one, compared to their neighbor Anthropic, which I do not like, because Anthropic is very like narrow-minded in that they think and this what do you say, this sentiment is being like seen by all people. Like Anthropic thinks that they are the best. They are like the quote-unquote god in this like LLM world, which is further from the truth, because Codex is even the model that they have, like Fable 5 and like Mythos 5. Mythos 5 is actually like unreleased, you can really use it, but Fable 5, they think that it can like it is the best, but they don't realize that they have like the competitor OpenAI with 5.6 Soul, which is I think better, because I've used both. I've used Fable 5 and I've also used like GPT 5.6 Soul, and I believe in terms of like coding, like the depth that 5.6 Soul the model goes through, especially the max one, is like far better than like Fable. Fable is like, of course, is like very intelligent, but it doesn't really like go in depth, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's like how I feel. So Anthropic is there, so they also have like an open source application that you can go through. I think it's a Cloud, I don't know, Cloud Code open source, Cloud Code open source application, a program or whatever. It should be there. I mean, I saw a few days ago. They actually started like this one. Yeah, it was launched like a few days ago, but keep in mind that they have like the same thing. So you get like 6 months of Cloud Max, but the issue with this one is these are very like limited. These are very like they have a lot of like high barriers to entry. So if I applied for this one, I wouldn't be able to get it, because you have to have meet or not have, but meet these requirements. You have to have like a 200,000, like monthly users downloads as a maintainer. Or if you're a core contributor, then you have to contribute like very popular sites, very popular like open source programs like Kubernetes, Linux kernel, like Linux kernel, like bro, come on, I can contribute to here. And yeah, if you have authored like over 100 more pull requests in the last 12 months. So again, these are like very high barrier compared to Codex, which is they don't really like have anything like in terms of like highly tough to reach barrier. So I would say this is like, go for this one after you've contributed enough, and then if you think okay you meet these criteria, then be my guest. You can apply here and then you'll be able to like get it. Yeah, so I think these two are there, and not other AI labs are offering this right now. So these two are offering. I mean, Codex was the first one to offer, and then Anthropic like followed suit because they saw how popular it is, and they wanted to cash in. Yeah, so yeah, these two are like the most useful. And yeah, so these I think this is all I have to say. Yep, I am done and I am pretty tired. So if you guys have any like questions, you can feel free to ask anyone. No questions? Yeah, I mean, if you think you can like, if you want to answer like question me in private in my DMs, you can really be like, my DM is open. You can also like go ahead and put the questions in my DM or even in the chat. I mean, I think someone wrote something. No. Okay, these were like two not any recent ones. Yeah, the screen is lagging. I know. Sorry for that. I apologize, but I don't know why. Whenever I like open Chrome, is very laggy. And maybe Chrome is laggy in Linux, but I don't use Chrome. I use Firefox Zen browser, so that isn't laggy. But Google Chrome doesn't really work in Firefox based browsers. So yeah, sorry about that. I can't really help it because I mean, from my end, it looked fine, but I mean, even it was laggy, but not that laggy as you guys are like telling it to be. But yeah, sorry about that. Maybe I'll try to fix it before the next session, but I don't know. So apart from that, any questions?
If I have a question. When we just prompt on ChatGPT, it just answer is like lightning fast, and when we use that same prompt in Integravity or any other AI, it will take time. Why? Because of the GPU computing power or anything else?
I mean, yeah, because I mean, I think if you use the chat version of the web version, maybe the web version itself is faster, not necessarily the backend per se. It may be that anti-gravity itself as an application is slow, and your browser application is faster. So it may be that. So we don't really know what like constitutes an LLM response being fast or not. Or maybe you may be using like a very small model, like you may be using GPT 5.5 mini compared to in the anti-gravity, you may be using like Gemini 3.1 Pro, which is like a very like, the frontier not open, but closed model, which is like very powerful. So it depends on a lot of factors. It isn't really like, good to say, okay, this is slow for that. I mean, it can depend on a lot of things. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, any more questions? No questions?
Okay, I just heard about a framework like Mojo that will work like CUDA. So what do you think about that?
Sorry, which one?
Recent launched a framework like Mojo. That's a framework that we can run on the cloud. I mean, like GPU, CPU, and MLX. Which is gonna replace the CUDA, which is run on the
Really?
GPU.
So is Mojo like part of NVIDIA, or is it like AMD, or which one, or Intel?
It's
Because
any kind of device. It's device free, so it's run all devices.
Oh,
So I just heard about that. I should learn about the Mojo framework or the CUDA framework. Like CUDA
okay,
is
so
already.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So my response would be CUDA is still the best because the amount of like people that are using CUDA is a lot. Like I think 80-70% of the whole like population in the ML world is using CUDA. So I think I would say like you should like learn CUDA first, because these are like what is powering, not the all, but majority of the applications. So learn CUDA first. And there's a very good book that I'm also reading by myself, the CUDA programming. I'm gonna share my screen again. This one. So this was, I would say, I think shared by NVIDIA themselves. If my internet is working. Where is it? Yeah, the CUDA programming, C++. So they basically go through all the guide for CUDA in the C++ language. And I just started reading it because this book like was published literally a few days ago. So you can like do that. I can like send you the PDF. It's free. It's online, or you can search it online. And then I plan on start reading this because my GPU skills, especially CUDA, is very lacking because I don't know anything. And then anything substantiated. So yeah, I'll go through this. So you can like go through this book. It's very, very good.
CUDA needs the GPU. Can I directly run on like Google Colab? Is it?
Yes, yeah. Google Colab is free, and also they have like a CLI version, so you can use it as well from Google Colab, from the CLI if you use like a Linux or macOS. For Windows, I don't know. Maybe you can use like a WSL, Windows for Linux, Windows subsystem for Linux. You can do that as well.
Okay.
Or you can run on your own machine. I mean, if you have like a very powerful GPU, like RTX 4090, 50 series.
No, I don't have any GPU. I'm using on Mac, so right.
For Macs, you can use MLX, as you said. It's also like MLX is the best in the Mac world. I mean, this is the only one they have. And yeah, but I would say CUDA is like the number one. Then comes MLX. And there's also others like Rockham from AMD, but those aren't that much popular, but they're gaining traction because they are open source. CUDA, I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong, but from what I've heard, CUDA may not be good for like open source programming. But again, I mean, I don't know that much in this field. I'm also learning myself. So yeah. Any
Okay,
questions? Any more questions? Yeah, welcome. Anyone? Anything? No more questions? Okay, so I think we can wrap it up, sir. So can you hear me? Maybe he's off, like a speaker is off. So yeah, so thank you all for attending. And again, if you guys have any more questions, you can like always ask me in Discord or DM me if you are too shy to speak up in this session. I don't really, it doesn't really matter to me. And yeah, so thank you for attending. And Kishore sir, are you there, or are you like, maybe his internet isn't like fast or slow? So I think we can all leave. Should we? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm confused too. What should we do? Should I like? Okay, I can stop the recording. Okay, good.